What is happening, everybody? It's good to see everybody back on a Thursday night. Hold on 2 seconds, everybody. Anyway, we're trying to get Dave Voss on here, so let's check this out. All right. We're still trying. Hold on. And there goes my phone. There goes my phone. It's blowing up. Anyway, all right, remove that. Dave is ready to join. Where he is. I don't see him. All right. Well, let me get on to my advertisers for tonight. First up is Stellar Customs, some of the baddest full carbon fiber windshields for your road glides, your street glides, and they are multiple colors, multiple designs. They're badass. You got to reach out to them at stellarcustoms.com and let them know that Kevin with the Grind sent you. Next up, our good friends at North DFW Trailers. I do not know what is going on with my, what you call it. I don't know why it's not letting me get the full advertisement, but it's North DFW Trailers in Dallas or Fort Worth areas. Trailer rentals, trailer repairs, trailer outfitting. They've got everything you want, including new trailer sales. Go check them out at North DFW Trailers on Facebook and let them know Kevin sent you. Next up is our good friend over at Hopkins Design. I do not know what's going on with this screen, why it's doing this, why it's doing my screen the way it is, but it's not putting the whole thing on there. Anyway, let me get done with this. So, dudes, I have been waiting a long time to interview this guy. He's a huge inspiration to me. Hell of a nice guy, always willing to help you out when a lot of other people aren't willing to help you. This guy holds no secrets and will help anybody. Please welcome to the show, master seat builder and upholsterer Dave Voss.
How you guys doing?
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Kevin?
Dude, I'm so excited to have you. I got goose pimples, man.
Goose pimples.
Yes, I've got goose pimples. I'm so excited to have you on here.
Cool. Excited to be here.
Dude, there's so many questions I have, so many things I want to ask you. But the first thing I want to get out there for those that don't know, introduce yourself, just for those that don't know.
My name's Dave Voss. I own Customs by Voss out of Griffith, Indiana. And I get to work on a lot of fun, cool stuff.
Dude, look at that bug. Holy
bug?
shit. Oh my God, that's nice.
That's we call that the shop mascot.
Is that your car?
No, I don't fit in it.
He said, no, I don't fit in it.
No, my good buddy Chad that is actually here. He works nights with me here. And it's his car. He built it 30 years ago with his old man when he was 15 years old.
Holy cow.
And then he redid it back in 2008. And that's actually the first kind of interior build outside on my own. Oh, Chad built it with me.
Yeah.
And first set of custom seats I did up from the frames up in that car, and it's a sentimental piece for sure.
Absolutely, it's badass, man.
Hey,
show me your shop.
Is my radio too loud for you?
No, not really. No, you're good.
Okay. All right, so first thing we'll start with, I got this little statue that looks like me. Courtesy of my good buddy Brad over at Barnyard, gifted me that guy.
Right on.
So my shop is Got
Wow.
a 70s Bronco. We always got a Bronco coming through here. And then
You got your little roller sitting there. I like that.
we do got I got a 4-foot roller, 4-foot stomp shear. I got a 3-foot slip roller too. Yeah, we do have a handful of metalworking tools. We make a lot of stuff out of aluminum for the cars.
That's cool shit.
And then one of the Broncos that we build the interiors on. This one we're doing a flooring kit and a sound system in. Half the time they come here, half the time we put the interior in a pallet and ship it out to them. And then this Olds Cutlass right here. We took this apart many, many years ago. I can't show you the red car over there, so we'll get away from that one. And then the Cadillac up on the lift and the Impala below it are both mine that will hopefully my kids can finish because I don't think I'll ever get to do them.
I know how that is.
And then I got a couple bikes staged over here. I got my big Birds of Paradise plant that got going for my wife. I take it home in the summer and it lives in my shop in the wintertime. It's her slice of home. She's born and raised in San Diego, so you don't really get to see stuff like out in the Midwest out here like this.
That's cool, man.
So we got a couple bikes going on. Seats. I got a bike here I just finished. This is kind of my staging area. I got my office back here. I call it a breakfast bar because really no alcohol gets drank there, unfortunately. But this is where I stage my bike set where I want a good 360 view on them to go walk, have a complete unrestricted view of the bike to just, keep walking past it 100 times a day, pulling ideas off of it every time I walk past it.
So when somebody gives you a bike to do, they bring you the bike and do they pick out what they want for a seat or they leave it completely up to you?
It depends. More times than not, it's just gotten to be left up to me. It's kind of gotten to that now, which is cool. But if people got an idea, then I gotta respect that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But try to usually I win when it comes to those conversations. So
yeah, dude, I see a blank spot up there on the wall above the bar stools.
It's just the angle that we're at. That's not blank.
Well, I know there's a motorcycle there, but right in front of that motorcycle, there's a blank spot that I'm going to send you something, and I'll just see if you'll hang it.
It's going to be that banner you have hanging behind yourself, huh?
Yeah, I have a couple of those in stock.
I'll be honest. That's actually I'm putting central air in this place, and that's where the central air is going at. It's discharging through the storage area.
Right
Hey, Kevin,
on.
introduce you to my good buddy here who owns that Bug. This is my guy, Chad.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
His old man and my old man grew up with these hot rods and stuff, and I wouldn't have this place if it wasn't for this guy, and the cool shit that we do wouldn't be as cool as it is if it wasn't for this guy. He's taught me a lot of shit. What's that?
I said he has some talent because that bike is bad, or that Bug is badass.
It's probably a little too cool for him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, Chad's an awesome union heating and air guy, and I'm lucky enough that he blesses me a few nights, 2-3 nights a week in my shop. I actually call it our shop because he helped me build this whole thing. So, yeah,
Nice meeting you.
he's like my brother, and he doesn't like being on camera. So back to work he goes.
So, how many square feet is your shop?
I got around 5,000.
Wow.
So, is this really messing with everybody with me spinning around, walking around in here?
No, but I mean, eventually you're going to sit down and stop. But I like the view of the shop and looking at everything. I love those old sewing machines you got up on the cabinets there.
I got a bunch of them. We'll get to them. So I got a collection of way too much leather hanging up,
Oh, that's a lot of investment right there.
and then we put our Bronco seats together on this table right here, staging. And then I got my big laser cutter, burner etcher, and just my computer area where I'm trying to slowly teach myself 3D modeling. But
Right on.
I almost feel I'll become a model myself before I start to learn how to do that shit. Yeah, it's just I got antique bicycles. This one's kind of cool here. My old man rode that, teaching me how to ride a bicycle when I was a kid.
Really?
And I got a little bit more space than he's got in his shop, so it's here hanging up versus his.
Right
And
on.
my favorite room doesn't get seen a whole lot, but this is my stitching room in here.
Dude, that's nice.
Got a big 8x12 table. That's my layout cutout table. Skyver, a little collection of shelving unit that we made for sewing machines and whatnot. And then I just got a few Juki sewing machines that I use on a daily. And yeah, a little more upstairs storage and more leather.
Wow.
And then my favorite wall is this one, where this is all my exotic leather. Anywhere from giraffe, hippo, elephant, shark. Just a variety of stuff to choose one. As you know, the bikes come in all shapes and colors and whatnot. So,
And you keep a lot of stuff in stock. Like you don't really have to order very often, do you?
it depends what we're doing. I usually keep plenty of black leather in stock and whatnot, what we use most. I'm lucky enough the exotic leather supplier likes me and just
I can't hear you. Did you cover up the mic or something?
I sure did. I put you on a stand, but let me figure something else out here. So my exotic leather supplier guy just sends me a bunch of different materials, knowing that I'll have a wider variety of colors and whatnot to match stuff up to. So, and if I need something specific, I'll shoot him a picture of something I'm working on. That's if the customer wants, something exotic on the seat.
Right. So how many employees do you have at your shop?
There's 4 of us, I think. 2 full-time, 2 part-time. So 5, including myself.
Right on. Now, does everybody sew and fabricate and do everything?
No, I got my buddy Chad. He's straight up fab. He's great with design as well. Him and I bounce a lot of ideas off each other. And then I got actually his wife. We got her stitching seats about 4 years ago or something, where stitches up pretty much all of my Bronco seats for me. She's awesome. And my guy Kurt, he's been with me about 5 years. I got him building. He builds the seats for me. We put our heads together on them. He builds them, gets them the foam work about 80-90%, and then the last 10% is always in the design of the seat. Whatever adjustments I got to make. So and then I got my young guy Jake. He's been with us a few years, kind of just showing him a little bit of everything and just teaching him how to sew. So right now there's 2 of us that can sew stuff up. Amanda's done a couple seats, bike seats that is. So I'm slowly, showing her that as well.
Wow.
So pretty much everyone that I got working for me is a friend. Has been a friend before any of this happened. So it's good shit.
And you're blessed because I'll tell you right now, dude, I think my upstairs and my downstairs combined is 1,800 to 2,000 square feet. So my upstairs is where I do all the design, the sewing. It's where all my leathers and stuff hang. But my downstairs is 22 or 24 by 60, and that's where everything happens.
Okay.
So, but we're sitting there looking at your shop, and Brian made a comment. Brian Barber made a comment. Is that what a real upholstery room looks like?
So. Well, I'll tell you what. I've been growing up in this industry, and basically the hot rod industry, and being in a lot of shops. There's so many filthy, unorganized upholstery shops, and that's fine if you can operate that way. Me personally, I have to have a clean space. After every project, we clean shop almost, and it looks like we do a whole lot of nothing in here because it's so clean. But when I walk in the door and it's a mess, I have zero I can't focus in on what I need to do. So I like to just keep the place clean.
Yeah. Well, the thing with me is, and I've had this conversation with a bunch of people. My mind doesn't work. The intention is there, but my follow through, I can't get it figured out. And I've tried for 20 years. I've been doing this. And I've tried to figure out how to get it organized to the point where everything you need is right where it needs to be. Well, the funny thing is everything I need and the way that I work, everything is right at my fingertips. So when I need to do a layout or do something like the banner behind me, directly behind that banner is a wall full of patterns that I do for American Iron Horse bikes.
Okay.
And then directly in front of me is like all your leathers hanging on the wall. I have nothing but leathers and vinyls and stuff that I used literally 40 to 50 feet wide. And they're just hanging side by side, like 3 inches apart. So there's some organization to what I've got. I'm just not as organized like you are. But then again, it's a bike shop. It's a fab shop. I mean, we do welding and everything in that shop downstairs.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very, I got lucky with this building I'm in. Started renting it out. I think about 9 years ago, we first found this place. And it was a scary move. I made a jump. I was in business for 3 years at that time. I made a jump that, I think more than doubled my rent. It was at the time, it was like, it was a risk, but let's try it. And then the guy who owned the building got ill. And he's, he's up there in age, and he wanted to get this off his plate. So he made me a smoking deal I couldn't say no to on the whole building. And that's how I fell into owning this building, which I rent out the other half of it to Barnyard. And got a great thing going with those guys next door. They're a good group of guys.
Right on. I haven't seen Brad on the show in probably 2 years, and he's on here tonight. So it's good to see you back, Brad.
Oh, he came to see me. How sweet of him.
Yes, he did.
No, it's awesome having those guys next door. There's a bunch of good builders in the area here. That's why we've pretty much why we've been able to do so many seats over the last 8-9 years is because there's the Chicago market, especially 5-6 years ago was, had a handful, 6-9 really good, bike builders, bagger builders.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to discuss with you was that where you're located, do you know of any other motorcycle seat guys?
There's a guy, yeah. There's a real good shop that's he's on the west side of Chicago. I'm like on the southeast side. I'm like the southern tip of Lake Michigan, and so I'm like the southeast side of Chicago. And Sinister Seats, I'll even give him a little shout out. He does nice work. He's on the in the west suburbs of Chicago, so I think he's like an hour away. So I refer a lot of people over to him. I'm waiting for a commissions check from him one day, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. So you said it a minute ago. You grew up in this industry. How did you actually get started?
On bike seats or just in general?
In general.
My dad owns Voss Upholstery. He's self-taught. He's been in business since '77. I grew up just like my son's growing up in my shop one day a week. I grew up in my dad's shop, my mom and dad's shop, I should say. My mom's been a huge part of it with him the whole way. And, as a kid growing up, working on stuff, I always liked to draw, always loved cars, and just would draw and stuff. And then being bored, being forced to go to the shop because both my parents were working and nothing to do. So I'd sit down, draw, and, the first thing I did, actually, I'll show you something that's kind of cool. I think in 3rd grade, I love sports. One of my favorite teams is the Blackhawks. And so in 3rd grade, I drew the Blackhawks logo on vinyl, put a piece of foam behind it, and stitched it. And I got this sitting in my office just as a friendly reminder
of where you started.
Yeah. So I got, pretty much I wouldn't be in this if it wasn't for my parents. They got me started with it. And then even when my dad's always steered away from motorcycle seats. He's got a love of cars, old hot rods, and he stayed busy with those where he did maybe one bike seat a year. And then as I got older, I kind of tried doing everything else out there except for what my dad was doing,
Right.
and playing sports, chasing girls, and drinking. And I think in my early 21, 22 or something like that, I came back to working for my old man, and then I actually got connected back with my buddy Chad, and kind of took off from there. And I think I drove my dad crazy because I was always trying to reinvent the wheel on everything we did. And he's got a great thing going. He's been doing it for so long, and he does an outstanding job. And we were just working. We butted heads a lot, and the old man's one of the nicest guys you'll meet. So I was turning a nice guy, making a nice guy angry, I guess you could say. So I moved on from that, and here I am.
Now, was he really supportive of you opening your own shop when you
Yes.
left him?
Yeah, we talked about it. I was actually on the town's fire department, and I was going to go do that full time. And I was working on cars, and whenever I was at the firehouse, all I thought about was working on the stuff in the shop. And my wife, luckily, or girlfriend, wife at the time, whatever, she had a really good career going for herself, and it was like, hey, it's time to let's try it out. Let's open up a shop and see how it goes.
Wow.
And luckily, I had I had a couple contacts and a couple cars lined up before we even started business, which helped out a ton. And then I also had bikes going. What I was doing was, back before there was stretch tanks on baggers and whatnot, the local Harley dealership was doing their own in-house custom paint jobs. Creed Harley, which is no longer with us, they got shut down when economy took a shit back in 08. But they were bringing me 2 to 4 bike seats a week, a month, whatever. And I was just recovering a stock seat to match their paint jobs or whatever. Simple stuff where I can knock it out in sometimes half a day, sometimes a full day, whatever. And it really got me into bikes more. And my buddy Chad here, his dad is an awesome airbrush artist. Done a ton of bike paint jobs and whatnot. So we shared a shop with him, seeing all the bikes come through for him, and seeing just wanting to do seats on these things. And at that point, I was never even on a bike. And to be honest with you, I really haven't been on a bike too much. But I just saw it as anything on wheels is just cool for me, and a lot of the bikes had a cool shape and something fun to work off of. But it wasn't until I started my own, until we started building our own seats. And that's when things really changed.
Now, when you say you built your own seats, did your dad teach you how to do fiberglass and all the stuff that you have to do that, or how'd you learn that?
I taught myself fiberglass, and actually I have another seat guy to thank for that. There's a dude out of Florida, Jeffrey Phipps.
I was going to say, don't make me say it.
So on his website, so there was one guy that was building choppers in my area, and he would always brag about Jeffrey Phipps being the best and stuff. So I just went on his website. At the time, there was no social media then, and he had a tutorial on how to build a bike seat pan to ship to him. And I'm like, well, shit, I can do that. So I did that. And so thank you, Jeffrey Phipps. I've never met or talked to him to thank him for that. But if I ever do, I don't know if he watches, but thanks, Jeff.
I think he's watched a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, he does outstanding work. So it was inspiration. And that's kind of where some of my exotic ideas, the exotics came, from him. And then there's a guy up by me. There's another seat guy that's a little bit.
Don't say alligator, Bob. I've
only met him once. I'll leave that at that. I got nothing bad to say about him, but I know a lot of people who don't like him. He told me I met him. I introduced myself to him when I was advised not to. And if you've never met me, I'm not really afraid of anybody. So I went right up to him. Plus, I just got respect for what he does, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But he says, "You're the guy that does all that funky stitching, isn't it?" I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
That's all I remember about Alligator Bob. But no, he did a lot of exotics, and I saw what he was doing, and I saw the prices he was charging, and I said, I can do that, and I think I can, I can do that. So,
well, I'll tell you, there's only two guys in the motorcycle industry that I've ever seen do seats so tight and so clean, and there's only two of y'all.
Who's the other one?
Rich from Bitchin' Rich or Bitchin' Stitchin' in California. He used to do all of Matt Hodge's seats.
Where's he at in Cali?
I'm not 100% sure, but he had really long hair.
Does he still do seats?
Long hair. Well,
does he still do seats?
Oh yeah.
I need a California referral. I get a ton of people asking me, and being that I only take bikes in my shop, I don't take outside seat pans or nothing in the shop. Yeah. So obviously someone shipping a bike from California has only happened to me one time, and I don't expect it to happen again. Yeah. So I like to just refer people to somebody in their area, and I got nobody really that does just bike seats in Cali. That I got a hand tooling guy at Nomad Leather up in Northern California. He's awesome, but it's a different style of seat than what I do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If anyone,
I want to say his name is Rich Phillips.
Rich Phillips. That sounds familiar. I think I've seen his work before.
And dude, he can get a seat so tight, just like your seats, that are flawlessly tight. Like you could put a business card between them, and it's perfect.
Do you want to know who does the best seats?
I do.
Nope, I don't either.
Who?
There's a dude. He's in Germany. He's on the Germany and the Netherlands border. Spirit Leatherworks. They're on Instagram. Up. His shit is amazing.
Hold on, shut up.
I found him about a year ago, and I don't get it's like the early days of Instagram when you started seeing all these other people's work and you get inspired, all kinds of inspiration everywhere. Haven't felt inspiration in a long time. Everyone's shit's starting to look like everyone's shit.
Are you talking about that?
That's one of them, I think.
That dude is amazing.
Yes.
And do you know his prices?
I hope he gets paid well.
Just take a guess what you think a seat like that would cost.
$3,500. More?
No.
Less?
US dollars. I did the conversion.
Maybe I shouldn't have name dropped this guy.
US dollars, like $700.
All right, I need to call him. We gotta have a talk.
I was like, holy, because I'm looking, because I just bought me a Tippmann Boss so that I could do bobber seats. Because I dabble with tooling and the airbrushing and all that. I want to get into doing stuff like that. Nobody over here is doing stuff like that, but there's a specific leather you have to buy that you can stitch and pleat and then go back and airbrush that leather.
Yeah.
The leathers that you and I use, I don't know if you're a guru when it comes to leather, but
I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you like burnouts?
Yes, I like burnouts. Is Brad over there doing a burnout?
No.
Well,
we're gonna get a little show here. This is our entertainment we usually get.
Who is that?
It's a 59 Dodge. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Rip them.
Who is that?
He did a good one for you, Kevin. That is my friend Matt. We got a couple younger guys that like to stop by in the area. That it's pretty cool. They like cars, which is and they like old cars, which is getting rare for the younger generation.
Yeah, no shit, right?
So he's got a 59 Dodge pickup that he beats the hell out of. We taught him how to drop the hammer in it. Last summer, he broke the drive shaft in front of the shop. So yeah, he likes to come stop by when we're working nights.
Dude, that's pretty awesome. So, are you drinking a juice box?
You know, I was wondering if you were going to catch on to that. Capri Sun. You could sponsor me. I think we buy 3 boxes a week. I drink more than my kids do. I love these things.
That's freaking awesome. Anyway, back to Spirit Leather. So there's a specific leather you can buy that you can actually upholster, but you can go back and you can hand dye it. Now, I think I know who you get your leathers from. I don't want to say anything about it, but you don't do any tooling leather yourself, right?
Nope.
Okay.
That shit takes a lot of patience. To those that do it and do it well, much respect.
Well, I've gotten into it. I've tried it many times, and it's one of those things that it's like anything else. You just got to sit down and do it and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. But I bought a Tippmann Soball specifically for doing bobber seats because they have the springs underneath them, and which means they have the studs coming out. Well, you can't push that under your sewing machine, a standard sewing machine. So that's why I bought this sewing machine. But anyway, my point was I wanted to get into doing that stuff because there's those guys, what I've seen them do is flat ass just amazing for no other reason that they're blending mediums together and they're just beautiful seats. But I messaged the guy and I asked him, I was like, what would one of your seats go for? And I sent him a picture of the one I wanted. And when I did the conversion rate, I messaged him back. I said, like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, the shipping is going to be the most expensive part, getting it to you.
We're officially never going to get a phone call again, Kevin, about doing seats. Everyone's just going to send them to this guy. Well, he does nicer work than us, and he's cheaper.
Because he's like you, he's in a niche market of what he does. It's a lot of bobbers and a lot of soft tails. That's just what he does. And that's pretty much all you'll see on his website. But anyway, he's a freaking nice dude. I didn't realize he was going to message me back. But that's something that's kind of cool about this industry. And you're one of the guys that actually, whenever I talk to other people about it, you're one of the first people that I actually bring to mind. When you're in business doing something like what we do, upholstery, there's tricks to the trade. There's always something. Oh, shit, I didn't know you could do that. It would make it come out this way. Man, in 20 years that I've been doing this, you literally are the first person that's ever said, well, here, this is what I use. Well, hey, you can get materials from here, or you can do this. Well, I can do that. People don't give up that stuff. I don't know why, but
I don't give up everything. There's a lot of shit I've learned along the way that I won't tell anybody. And I got a lot of friends in industry that are the same way. And how I was taught was I was led a certain way. I was never told fully how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do this, give you a lead on it, figure out the rest. And that made me figure out my own ways to do it, which in return, the person that taught you to do it, it could show them another way to do it that they didn't think of. So you help each other out. So when people call me up, I'll help people out, but if it's something that took me years to figure out, probably not going to tell you. I have a lot of people ask me, how do your seats fit so good? And a lot of guys who do really nice work asking me this. I won't tell you. Figure it out. It took me years. It took me years to figure it out. Out. If you want to know, you'll figure it out.
Well, that's one of the cool things about it is that, like you said, when you were working with your dad would put you so far and then let you go the rest of the way. This is like me and my son. We were working on an exhaust tonight for a bike that we're working on that we got from another shop, trying to get it fixed and fit the way that it's supposed to be. It's not symmetrical, and it's never going to be symmetrical. So what you have to do is you have to figure out how to meet the happy medium between the bag, the fender, and the exhaust tips.
So I've worked on a lot of badass bikes by a lot of really good bike builders. Not one of them has been symmetrical. And that's no disrespect to any of them, because I guarantee, because it's not, I could see it's not easy to actually put a bike together completely symmetrical. You don't realize it until you go to build a seat. And then you got to run a line from front to back in the seat, but actually you need to make the line, you got to make the line go straight on the front of the seat, and then it pivots at the middle and then goes a different direction in the back to make it look.
Don't tell nobody that.
Hey, that's an easy one.
I got into an argument with the guy that had a 280 chopper, just a standard, 6 up, 4 out, 42-degree rake chopper. And when we're doing his seat, he's like, well, why does that side stick out further? I was like, well, because that's the drive belt side. He goes, well, that looks like shit. I was like, well, how do you want it to look? So that one bike, and that was in 2005. I always take from the center of the gas tank a straight edge, a string to the center of the rear fender, not the tire, the fender. And I can pick where the center line's at. And like you said, you have to fudge right there in the crux of the fender and the frame because they're not flawlessly straightened, and they never will be. I don't give if you get 10 Street Glides, there's not one of them that has a gas tank in the same place. Not one of them.
And every one of these kits, these Broncos that I do, every one of these Broncos is a kit. It's each one of these bodies is a little different. The floors are a little different. Same with years ago, we thought about, we have such a wide variety of tanks and fenders, tank extensions, every different kit coming through here. I think I was talking with Tony from Top Shop about, I made him a couple seat pans that go with his kits. We talked about supplying him seats and even providing my own seat that could be sold via magazine or whatever else, catalog, that will fit certain kit setups. Problem is, none of them are going to fit right.
No, they
Everyone's
don't.
different. Unless you're extremely, for the time it would take for these guys to put the bikes together completely symmetrical, it would be impossible for them to make any kind of money. They would never get paid for it because you never see it. We're the only guys that see it.
Well, when you're sitting there putting on 2 different tank halves, you're putting the tank halves on, you push them in. Dude, if you get one cock just a tiny bit, dude, I could show you 3 seat pans right now that we made 4 bikes, and dude, when you make a seat pan, it's like, dude, how in the hell are you going to get that straight? That's going to be a son of a bitch. Well, told my son, when you start doing the foam on this thing, you're going to have to fudge in 2 areas, and there's nothing you can do, because if you don't, you're going to see it's offset to one side. You have to take it up in the foam.
Yeah, we did a seat a couple of weeks ago, and the rear fender was molded, but it was shifted so far one way. The curvature of it was leaning so far hard to the left. The shape of the seat from right to left, just looking at the back of the bike, was completely different. If you have it on the table, you're like, damn, I fucked up here. But when you put it on a bike, it works.
Yeah. Well, so where do you get a lot of your inspiration from? I mean, do you lean more towards the hot rods and stuff, or
I lean toward whatever's sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
Whether it's a bike, a car, the person. I just did a seat last week for a pretty cool chick, Lisa. And that one, I took design inspiration from the bike, but also her personality.
Yeah.
Just kind of meeting her a couple times, seeing a couple Facebook stuff. I knew she'd kind of like a little special touch that we put on there. And as far as I know, she liked it. But no, usually I'm looking at the bike. I'm pulling lines. I'm sitting on my floor. Just going through. I walk past the bike. If it's sitting right to my left where I'm looking, I'm walking past it 50, 100 times a day. Every time I walk past it, I'm looking at it. Same with I got a 64 Chevelle over in the corner that I can't show you. And that car will come out next year. And I walk past that, the same thing. All right, what can we do on door panels? What can we do in the trunk? And I look at a lot of, I like European exotics, European luxury, Audis. I like Audi interiors. Aston Martins are probably one of my favorite interiors. And I just, whatever you're working on, it's kind of like let the project speak to you yourself. The bikes, yeah, whether it's grips, floorboards, foot controls, wheel, paint, body lines itself, whatever, we can pull some lines off of just to make it flow. A bike we did a couple months back, I remember I pulled the lines off the carbon fiber in the saddlebags, and the lines flowed straight into the seat from the carbon fiber lines in the saddlebags.
Yeah.
And that's something like, I don't know if it's really even seen, when it's done, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that gets me. The first things they notice about a bike is the paint job in the seat. Whether it's a good seat, a bad seat, a good paint job, a bad paint job, those are the two first things they notice. But the seat is the only thing on the bike that they never get any credit. They never say anything about the seats.
I've seen some really nice bikes win some really nice awards that have had some okay seats on them.
Undesirable seats.
Yeah, will be nice.
And well, I have to be nice. And that's another thing. When I see people that are struggling with it, I mean, there's a guy here in Houston that I actually bought my very first sewing machine from. And I could tell you that story, but it's pointless. But after about 2 years, he started calling me and, well, dude, how do you do that? I was like, dude, because I was never trained by anybody. I literally paid the guy that tunes the machines up. I paid him literally almost $700 in 1 week because he would come in, set the machine up, get it timed, everything, and within an hour or two, I'd have it jammed up.
Yep.
So he'd come back, and finally, about the fourth or fifth time, I was like, dude, can you show me how to just put two pieces of material together and just stitch a straight line? And he goes, oh, yeah. Well, of course, when I did it, I put them together, did everything he did, and it was really good. And then it got good to me, and I was like, I could push that pedal a little faster and go a little faster. Bunched it all up. So I had to call him back. Well, it was a weekend, so I had to wait until Monday. Finally, Monday, he's like, look, dude, that pedal, you got to float it. You got to float that. And he taught me a whole lot in just an hour, but I spent so much money trying to get this old beat-up machine tuned and correct so that I could just sew with it. But I don't think that I learned any bad habits. I may have invented some bad habits, but I've never had direction from anybody. I've never been told this is how you lay out a pattern or,
I had my parents, which was great to teach me, get me going on it. And then honestly, once social media came about and just talking with other people that do nice work and then just, comparing notes and whatever. And he's not in business anymore, but my buddy Steve that used to own, I don't know if I can actually say the company that he named. He had a shop in Charlotte. He sold it.
Yeah.
And did some really nice stitching on a lot of stock seats. He had his own line of seats he was selling. Him and I compared all kinds of notes from, how to run a business to how to sew straight and how do you put a seat together. I taught him stuff. He taught me stuff. And I got numerous friends like that, just kind of share notes, and we all have different tricks. I know another friend of mine that taught a couple classes on doing some interior fabrication. I asked him what he was getting out of it, what he was learning from teaching the class. And he said he learned more from the people that came there and just gave him a little trick or two that they picked up along the way. And whether that was from some old timer that's been doing it forever, or like, I know I stitch backwards compared to my girl Amanda and my buddy Dane that used to work for me. And they stitch on the one side of the foot, I stitch on the other side of the foot.
Really?
And talking to a couple other people too, like it seems like I actually go about it backwards. So, but it works for me.
How many sewing machines do you have?
4.
I mean, that you work with?
3.
3?
I got 2 that are like my structure seams, so I keep a smaller needle on there. Those are always set up for, basically the structure seaming. And then I got a heavy duty machine that does all my top stitching. So I got my bigger needle, my bigger threads always on that machine. It just kind of keeps it so I'm not always changing needles and not always changing, thread and everything out.
Yeah. Dude, you're going to have to go back after the show and just go read your comments. I'm not acknowledging the assholes. I love them, but I'm not
Yeah,
acknowledging
no,
them.
I can only imagine. It's cool.
It's
I think
freaking great. Well, dude, you know, I watch and I look at your seats like the way you were talking about Spirit. Um, I show a lot of people your stuff. And you know, you were saying a minute ago, I've been self-employed since 1997, but I started doing motorcycle seats in 2003. And I just looked up the other day. I was like, well, holy shit, I've been doing these motorcycle seats for 20 years now. But I also have my own line of seats for American Iron Horse that I make and manufacture. We've gotten into some Harley seats now. We've got stuff, but I go over to your page and I look at your stuff for inspiration. And I had a guy one time, he's like, hey, he showed me a picture of one of your seats and he goes, man, can you do that? I said, yeah, I can do that. I'm not going to do that, but I can do that. Well, why won't you do that? I was like, because I'm not going to copy his work. I have too much respect for him. I said, but you can go to him. Well, where's he live? And at the time I didn't know where you lived, but I knew that he would have to load his bike up and bring his bike to you because we'd had conversations by that time. I was like, so here's what you're stuck with. You either take it to him and let him do it, or you agree that we can take inspiration from him, but we ain't doing that seat. So we ended up taking inspiration from you and doing a seat similar to what you
cool.
had done.
And I've done the same for other people along the way as well, you know.
Yeah. Well, dude, my mind, you, James Carter, and Troy Swarver are all three extremely different
Those guys are
people,
really good
but you're
too.
all very good at what you do. I look at y'all stuff because I'm like, dude, I'm running out of ideas. I can't think of any more ideas of
Hey,
well, how many diamonds can I stick in this fucking seat?
you know what you gotta do?
Do what?
Stop looking at other people's work. I
Oh,
stopped.
dude, that's my whole point. Is I can't think of anything to do to a seat, and I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, I get blocked, and when I get blocks, I won't sleep. It'll be on my mind until I get it figured out. I mean, there's been days, literally, I'd be up 3 days trying to figure out what I'm going to do to a seat. It's horrible. So I go look around at y'all stuff. I always have, and it's not just y'all.
You don't know the secret.
I don't know the secret.
Pow.
Tell me the secret.
Pow.
Do what?
It's called POW.
POW.
Power of the weed.
Do what?
Power of the weed.
Brad, hook a brother up.
This was before I even met Brad.
Really?
Yep.
That's why you work for yourself. There's no drug testing.
We don't do drug testing here.
We don't.
And actually, it's not a drug.
It's a plant.
It's not a drug.
It's a plant.
Oh, no, it's God, actually, yeah, it changes up your thought process. I'm not saying that's just help. It's creativity. I know a ton of artists. Everyone uses it. And actually, majority, yeah, I'm just going to stop there. There's a reason why a ton of artists dabble with it.
Well, in another 11 years, I will be able to. And don't think for 2 minutes I won't be.
Yeah.
I think probably the minute I retire, one of the first phone calls I make is going to be to burn.
See my buddy Chad over there. He heard me. He's laughing. He knows what's up.
So
you see, it's the stigma behind it's wrong.
Well,
I'm motivated as hell. This is Chad's the most active motherfucker I know, and we're both the same way. People tell us both we're crazy how much we do and how much we build and how active we are. Just not in this shop, outside of it too. Pow.
Well, that's my new thing.
I need to get shirts made with that said. Brad, get some shirts made with that. I know you'll do it.
Shut up, Brian.
Let the comments come now.
Dude, they are coming now too.
Hopefully my wife's not watching. She's gonna be rolling her eyes at me if she sees that shit.
Yeah, right. So you actually have do you do the laser engraving also?
Yeah, I don't do anything crazy here. You know, my buddy, actually there's a really good seat guy that's in Oklahoma City too. Hicks.
I've never heard of him.
Hicks Design?
Mm-hmm.
You're missing out. Kyle does. Kyle is the most creative person I've had the pleasure of working with him. He's He's like a brother to me now.
Yeah.
We've worked on a couple of cars together. Yeah, he's awesome. He's in Oklahoma City. If like that type of seats you're talking about, wanting to build and stuff, he's right there with Spirit.
Really?
Yeah, him and I have a pretty good mutual respect for each other. He helps me, I help him. And you know that double top stitch that I started doing 12 years ago? Him and I, he came up with that idea, and I came up with that idea of doing it both different before we knew each other. He had seats done with it, and I had seats done with it going back from like 2010.
Really?
Now I try not to use it because everyone uses it, and I like to do the opposite of what everybody's doing. But yeah, check out Hicks. He does some awesome work there in Oklahoma City. So you're in Dallas, right? Or are you Houston? You said.
I'm in Houston. So
Okay.
you're talking
He's a
about
little
that double top stitch. Y'all started doing that in 2010, 2011?
Look it. You didn't know I'm famous for this?
Hold on.
See this? I pioneered it. It says this little plaque I got on my wall. Just
What
kidding.
year?
It's just a piece of paper.
He says just a piece of paper.
When did you do it?
2004, 2005.
Did you do a double?
Yes, but I didn't know you couldn't. I was never taught what to or what not to. I did a double, honestly, because I couldn't
show pictures.
I had to match a pinstripe on a bike.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't put both of them. Pick one. He's like, well, just put them both on there. I was like, okay, cool. Brap, brap.
Find a picture and show me. That's cool. And actually, I didn't create this shit. I got credit for it. I didn't invent this stuff. It's on every pair of blue jeans.
Take the credit.
Nah, fuck that. It's on every pair of blue jeans, every pair of shoes you've ever had. There's a double top stitch. I've seen it forever, growing up as a kid. And actually, I came across a seat off of a 1979 Harley in the last couple of years that had a factory black double top stitch on it from 1979. So I didn't create shit. But
When's the first time you saw the lights in the seats like Troy does?
Lights are gay.
I didn't ask you that. I said, when's the first time you saw it?
I don't know.
Last 3 or 4 years?
No, before that. It's been done before. It's a long time ago. There was bikes, there was choppers with that on there too.
Yes. I did a lot of them. Just didn't know that there was. I had no clue that you couldn't do it.
There's only one bike that I've ever seen that deserves to have lights in its seat, and I did that seat before lights were, what they have now, that whatever trim that Troy puts in the seats, that is cool stuff. I'm just not a fan of it personally. Yeah. Curly built a bike that Gator Customs did some glass down the side of it, their glass work, and the whole side of the bike just lit up down the side. And that was the only paint job I saw that needed to have that kind of look in the seat. And that's just my personal opinion. But it seems like a lot of people like it, so hey, that's cool for them.
Well, I haven't had anybody other than it was a guy from Baytown, Texas named Coach. He had me do his seat and put a blue light around the French seam. The finishing stitch. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I can do that. So I did that. But they made that light for your dash and stuff way back then in cars. Anyway, I just wrapped it in clear, the thinnest gauge clear vinyl you could get. I wrapped it, bead welded it, stitched it in the seat. Well, that's exactly what they're doing now, but it's pre-made that way.
Yep.
Whatever.
I've been making different kind of welting with different. I just found one to do chrome with. I'm messing with everyone, telling them I'm welding up, shaping and welding TIG rod, and then putting a clear plastic over it when it's just chrome plastic.
Oh my god!
But we always trying something. I mean, I know a lot of seats that we do. We try to throw some metal, some aluminum in them somehow, if that is fitting. I think too that's something that kind of sets us apart, a little bit. It's an option. I know I'm not the only one that does that though. So
yeah, but you do it really freaking clean compared to a lot of people, including myself, because I've done quite a few seats with it, And man, I'll tell you what, your stuff is really clean.
Thanks, dude. Here's one. We just wrapped this seat up yesterday.
It's just a good looking seat, dude.
And this one's on like I never worked off this tank setup you got here. So it's a kind of a weird shape to begin with. And the paint job was made to accommodate a seat, but it wasn't laid out by a seat builder. It was laid out by a painter who's never built a seat. So I had to make kind of a funky extension on the back of a solo seat, but it ended up looking pretty good. And we got a awesome, I don't know if you can see it too well, but that's elephant trunk.
Yeah.
So, and then just kind of ran, the lines right down into the seat off the dash. Those widen out so they're the width of the fender. I don't know how much you can see what I was doing there.
But is there red pinstriping on the bike?
Yeah. Can you see the paint?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
dude, that's a good looking seat.
Thanks, man.
Well, but you don't do just like you're into the Broncos and you fully produce a whole interior for those Broncos, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So 6 years now we've been doing it. Work with a great company out of Ohio, and they sell a lot of these. So we provide them with roughly 2 to 3 interiors a month. Sometimes the trucks are here. Sometimes we put the interior in boxes and put it on a pallet and ship it to them. I never thought I wanted to do repetitive, production work, but at the same time, going back 6 years ago, I was looking for some kind of consistent monthly revenue. And there's a bus company down the street that does all the city buses, school buses. And I kind of swallowed my pride and went down there asking, be like, hey, there's a bunch of seats. None of them got to be perfect. Even if it's 2 days a week, I got to work on these. And those dudes kind of laughed me out of there. And then a week later, the guy that, builds all these Broncos called me up and said he has 2 trucks a month and he wants to get on my schedule. So, and that's just, it was all through networking that happened in that account. And, it's, I take care of them. They take care of me. And it's pretty much my number one priority in the shop is getting those done for those guys. And then,
wow.
But the motorcycles, they bring, put it this way, a bike seat I did 4 years ago provided the design inspiration on a 65 Vet that we haven't shown anybody yet because we finished it 2 years ago, but the car still hasn't debuted yet. It's still not finished. But that whole design for that interior was based off of a motorcycle seat we did for DA Performance.
Really?
And then the Chevelle we have here right now, I actually did the motorcycle seat about 2 months ago that is providing inspiration for the seat design in this Chevelle. And that was another DA Performance bike. And so I can't wait to put that seat. I'm looking at my pictures I've taken of the seat as I'm laying in bed one night. And actually, so just looking at things from a different angle, and I'm looking at this seat and I'm like, holy shit, that's like a racing seat for a car, the shape of the back. And then then it just kind of dawned on me. I'm like, oh shit, there it is. There's the design that I've been looking for. It's not going to be exact, but it's like, it's my inspiration for something to do on that I haven't seen done before.
So how many cars do you think you do a year?
One.
One?
Yeah, it's really all I care to do. I'm doing 2 to 3 Broncos a month, if you want to count those in it too. But as far as the custom cars go, 1, 2. And I have them. I tell people we're a 6-month minimum because it's honestly it's a part-time thing.
Yeah.
Some weeks we throw 4 hours at it. Some weeks we can throw 40 hours at it. It just depends, and I can't do it consistently to give anybody the time, a right time. So I found it better just, it is what it is. If you're cool with that, cool. We can work together. If not, I can refer you to somebody who does just as nice as work as I do.
Yeah.
And yeah, just totally honest about it. I suck on my time frames. I suck on my pricing. You're not going to like either one, but if I'm up front with you, we have a chance of maybe, working through this and having a cordial relationship when this is over. And because I love doing them, that's my passion. That's what I grew up with. I wish there's so many times I wish I could walk in my door and work on those, but there's not. They're not. I can't make them my daily priority, unfortunately.
So the majority of your work, it comes from motorcycle seats or the Broncos?
Broncos.
Yeah,
about I don't know if it was 3 years ago, something like that. It was just the same shit over and over, of just situations I didn't like with the motorcycles that motivated me to just not want to work on motorcycle seats. So there was, I think, 2020, I only did 3 seats that year. 2021, I think, was the same thing. And then actually a bike that Barnyard built last year, it's for sale right now. It's an endless line bike, pretty badass bike. One of my favorite seats that we've done. I did that, and I don't know, like it relit a fire in me for bike seats. That it's funny how one project can do that for you.
Oh yeah, I get it.
That one there was just like, oh shit, that's the good feels right there, like. It helped too that the owner of that bike was here from Minnesota to see that thing finished, and he's my size and gave me a bear hug because he was so happy, like he just won a Super Bowl or some shit. It was great.
Wow.
But yeah, that's one thing I try to explain to people is we all need to get paid for our time and stuff, but the appreciation behind it of what we put into these things, because it's not like we're just bolting parts together and out of a box. I put a lot in. What I do here is I put a lot in each one. I care more about the quality and not looking like everybody else, where I put a lot of just, here and here in every seat we do. If the people appreciate it, it means a hell of a lot, just as much as getting paid on it.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's not the right way to look at it from being a business owner, but it's how we do things here, and it seems to be working.
Well, you and I discussed some stuff the other day, and dude, you got a good sense for business also. So don't knock yourself with that. You're doing it the right way.
Can always be better.
The fact you've done what you've done, you've got the shop you've got employees, but you're still driven. You're still motivated, like you just said, what your hands and your mind can produce. When you get that one customer that actually appreciates that, dude, I totally get that. That makes the hard days and the shitty ones way worth it right there. Just having that one good customer that appreciates what you're doing.
Yeah, I love doing this. I love coming to my shop. I'm very blessed to have this and this opportunity to do this, and just to work. People leave me their babies in my shop. That's another reason why I keep it so clean in here, because people are leaving their babies here. But yeah, just to do this day in and day out, I'm very, very thankful for it and appreciative of it.
Well, dude, you're definitely an inspiration to me, and I appreciate you. I like you. You're a nice guy. Every time we've ever spoken, you've been a nice guy. You're
giving me no reason not to be.
Yeah. Well,
everyone's nice until they're not nice.
Well, I'm nice until I don't need to be.
Exactly.
So
you never give me a reason not to be nice, Kevin. I got nothing but good to say about you.
Well, you too, brother. Well, man, we've been on here over an hour now, and
you got a bunch of bike guys, and we're here talking about sewing machines. These guys are like, what are we listening to right now?
So, dude, back when I first started doing this, I guess it was maybe 05, 06. I literally had a shirt that says, "Yes, I sew for a living, but I can still kick your ass." I had that shirt. I used to wear it all the time.
It's funny. I've had to have the same conversation with a couple guys that are big bad biker guys covered in tats that try to look intimidating, and I let them know the guy that sews isn't afraid of them.
Yeah. Hey, that beard's gonna get you bowed up, buddy. Don't let them that tattoos get you fucked up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But
the intimidation factor.
Yeah, that's my plan. I got a couple daughters. My hair's falling out. I'm getting bald. I'm gonna start doing curls. Get a biker vet. Oh, see, you got the do going, Kevin. That's the new look right there, man. I'm heading that way. You got a couple years on me, so when I'm your age, I'm gonna be right there, looking that good. But I'm going to get some flames on my head, though, I think, just to look a little scarier because
Get those gauges in your ears. That's what you need too. Or get you a ring right here. Oh, bullshit.
That's cool. It's just not my style.
Right. Well, cool, man. Well, thank you for coming on, dude. I appreciate it. It was well worth the wait. Everybody knows I've been trying to get you on here for a long time, and I genuinely 100% appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah, my pleasure, Kevin. And I nothing but wish you the best with the show and everything else too, man.
Well, thank you, brother. Well, go have a blessed night, man, and we will talk later.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Well, cool. Just made that happen. That was awesome for me. We could have been talking for another hour or two, but I want to also say it was good to see Brad Konar in the house again. Haven't seen him in a year or two, possibly longer. Jay Bose was in the house. I saw everybody. I appreciate everybody watching tonight. Thank you very much. Tune in next week, because next week we have Josh Allison from American Metal, and it will be instead of being at 9 p.m. Central Time, we're going to be doing it earlier at 7 p.m. It's going to be a hell of an interview next week. Tune in next week, next Thursday, man. Josh Allison. It's going to be a hell of a night, man. Anyway, you guys go have a kick-ass night, and we will see you guys next Thursday.